Helo a chroeso i'r gyfres dra chyfrinachol. Welcome to the Top Secret Series gyda fi, Mr Wall. Nawr, ein genhadaeth ni heddi ydy Uned 1 Cymraeg iaith Cwestiwn 3. Our mission today is Unit 1 of Welsh Second Language of the GCSE course concentrating on Question 3. Felly, gyda Cwestiwn 3, mae rhaid darllen cyfweliad, llenwi gapiau ac ysgrifennu. In Question 3, we've got to read an interview, fill in the gaps, and then write. Gawn ni edrych ar ran 1, y gapiau a'r cyfweliad gyntaf. First of all, let's concentrate on ran 1, the gaps and the interview. Felly, yn gyntaf, mae'r drefn yn dilyn y cyfweliad. The order follows the interview. So, if you have question 1 at the top, gap 1 at the top, it's going to be somewhere near the top of the interview. At the bottom, it's going to be at the bottom, and in the middle, you've guessed it, it's going to be somewhere in the middle. Matchwch gwestiwn na'r gapiau gyda'r cyfweliad. Match the gaps questions with the interview. Strictly speaking, you don't need to know what everything means, and you're not going to, and that's fine. But what you can do is match the gaps with the interview. So let's have a look at actually practicing that. Now, we've got at the top, Genny, and at the bottom, other questions. So you're going to imagine that it's at the top and at the bottom. Now, first of all, what you're going to do is you're going to underline or highlight Genny. Okay? Then you find with a ruler and with your highlighter Genny in the actual text. Now let's have a look. So you're just skimming and scanning, right here. Diolch yn fawr iawn. Ces I fy ngeni ymhen y bont ar ogwr. So you don't even need to know what it means. You're just going to go back and you're going to underline it. Next, you're going to look back at the question. Byw nawr. So you're going to carry on ymhen y bont ar ogwr yn ne Cymru. Ond nawr dwi'n byw yng Nghaerdydd. So you've got this question word nawr by here, and you can find it here, nawr. You also have byw, you've got byw, okay? So last one then, let's have a look together. Hoff dîm rugby. So you're going to skim and scan. Chwaraeon ydych chi'n hoffi. Rydw i'n hoffi gwylio rygbi yn fawr iawn. A fy hoff dîm ydy'r gweilch. Pan oeddwn ni'n ifanc, roeddwn ni wrth fy modd yn nofio a syrffio. So, hoff dîm rugby. So, let's have a look. We have hoff dîm rugby. By here, hoff dîm. Okay? So, you're going to know that the answer is somewhere around this area. Okay? Do that from top to bottom, from top to bottom. Let's have another look at another example. Okay, so this example comes from 2013. This time, let's start from somewhere in the middle. So let's have a look from wedi gwneud ar teledu cyn y rhaglen over the rainbow. Okay? So you're going to be looking for words such as teledu, over the rainbow. Now it's somewhere near the top, but it's not necessarily near the middle. So I'm going to have a guess that we're going to be looking at somewhere around here. So let's have a look. When in dod yn enwog, rhaglen teledu, so already we have rhaglen teledu over the rainbow. And you'll notice by here, there's 1, 2. So you know there's 2 marks. So you're looking for 2 things. So let's carry on. Roeddwn ni nerfus iawn o roeddwn ni wedi gwneud rhaglen X Factor ar y teledu cyn hyn a rhaglenni ar S4C. So look back at the question. You have this word cyn. You have this word cyn by here. You're looking for 1, 2 things. So wedi gwneud rhaglen X Factor. Did an X Factor program. A hefyd and also rhaglenni ar S4C. So there's your 2 answers. 1, 2. Let's have a look at one of the bottom questions by here. Nawr gwneud rhan Dorothy 6 gwaith bob wythnos. Rhaid I Sophie wneud beth. So this is in the middle. So your key words, you're looking for any of these key words. One of them would be rhaid. So you're going to underline rhaid or you're going to highlight it. Let's have a look. So you're skimming and you're scanning, skimming and you're scanning. And here, on this section, here we have the word rhaid. Rhaid I fi fwyta bwyd iach. So here's some of our answers. You're going to underline all of this bit by here, and you're going to pick out the 2 points, because it says 1, 2, that you think. So again, the answer is going to be around somewhere by here. In this case, it's fwyta bwyd iach. Because you've got that 2 part, this is an indicator, and. So you're going to be writing fwyta bwyd iach in this section, mynd i'r gwely yn gynnar in this section. Let's have a look at the last example. So this example comes from the 2012 paper. Let's have a look at somewhere down the bottom. So let's have a look at pwy sy wedi ei helpu yng nghlwb Llanelli. So it's near the bottom. So let's have a look at these sections by here. So I would say that you're going to be looking for the word Llanelli. So let's have a look. Let's skim and let's scan. So let's start off by here. You're looking for the word Llanelli. Let's have a look up door. Mae llawr o'n mynd I glwb Llanelli. Here we go. So we underline the word Llanelli. Carry on. Achos ces I lawer iawn o help gan bobl fel Mark Jones a Stephen Jones. So it's asking you pwy sy wedi helpu, who has helped. So you're going to be looking for names, and in this case, here are 2 names, Mark Jones and Stephen Jones. The last one then, yn mwynhau beth am rugby, likes what about rugby. So let's have a look at the section below it, because if this is in here, and this is the last question, which you can probably guess is here, this one's going to be in the middle. So, yn mwynhau beth, enjoys what? Rugby. Enjoys what about rugby? Beth ydych chi'n mwynhau a ddim yn mwynhau? Rydw i'n mwynhau, so already you've got this word mwynhau, so we can underline mwynhau. Underline mwynhau. Rydw i'n mwynhau mynd i'r gampfa I godi pwysau. Remember, 1, 2, so you're looking for 2 answers. So after this, there's probably going to be an A somewhere. So the first answer, mynd i'r gampfa I godi pwysau, and there we have it, the A, which is the second part, a gwneud fy nghorff yn gryf, making my body strong. So you're matching up all the time. You're just going to match the bottom to the bottom, the top to the top, and the middle to the middle. You don't even need to write any answers down at that time. You can just concentrate on highlighting words and finding them. Highlight them, find them, and then once you've got most of these done, you can then go back writing the answers down, or do it as you go along, it doesn't matter. Okay, felly, edrychwn ni ar rhan 2, yr ysgrifennu. Let's have a look at rhan 2, the writing. So, yn gyntaf, just like the previous questions, darllenwch union eiriad y cwestiwn. Read the exact wording of the question. Now, that's important, because what a lot of people do is they don't read it properly, and they end up writing about something else, or mentioning something else. We're going to come on to that in a moment. Ysgrifennwch yn y trydydd person, write in the third person. It's normally going to be either he or she, but it could be a band, it could be a group, in which case you would need to use they. Fel arfer am y 2 paragraff olaf, usually about the last 2 paragraphs. Normally, it's going to be in the last paragraph. It's going to ask you to do something from the last paragraph, but just in case, it could be the last 2. So the technique then, newidiwch unrhyw dwi I, mae hi, neu mae nhw'n. Change any dwi that you see in the last paragraph, or the last but 1, to mae for a boy, mae hi for a girl, and mae nhw for they. Ac yna, rhif 5, parhewch gyda'r frawddeg. Continue on with the sentence. So let's put that into practice. This comes from the 2014 paper, because you remember question 2 is a 2-part. It's the filling in the gaps, it's the reading, and then it's the writing. Now, by here, ysgrifennwch ddwy frawddeg yn Gymraeg. So it's already given you two. And the trydydd person in Welsh, in the third person, yn rhoi dwy ffaith, two facts, am beth mae Aled yn dweud yn y cyfweliad am y dyfodol. Now that's the bit that people get confused at. This is the bit by here, am y dyfodol, about the future. Now the future is in the very last paragraph. It's in this paragraph by here. I've included both just in case. So write two sentences in Welsh in the third person, giving two facts about what Aled says in the interview about his future. Now Aled is a boy, so you're going to be using my in. Okay? And remember, you change any doings to my ins. So let's have a look. He says, first of all, dwi'n mynd i'r brifysgol y flwyddyn nesaf I astudio gwyddor chwaraeon. Now there's a dwi'n by here, so you can change that into one thing to say my ein mynd i'r brifysgol. And then you carry on whatever else is saying. So mark 1 done. Now you'll notice that there are 6 marks by here. So if there's 2 questions or 2 things you need to write, you're going to guess that each of these is worth 3. So you're going to have 1 mark for spelling, 1 mark for a right answer, and a 3rd mark for how well it's written. So again, these 3 things: your punctuation, your spelling, and how well it's written. Number 2. Hoffwn I gystadlu yng Ngemau'r Gymanwlad, the Commonwealth Games yn Glasgow yn 2014, ac of course, ennill medal yno. Now, with this hoffwn I by here, you could write that as an answer, because all you do there is you change the uni bit by here to hoffai e, and then you would carry on. Hoffai e gystadlu yng Ngemau'r Gymanwlad. That could be written by here. Or you look down and we have a dwi by here. Dwi hefyd yn edrych ymlaen at deithio I dde America. So you've got the dwi by there, so you change it to my e. You could even say my Aled. So you can say my e or my Aled hefyd yn edrych. So, and then the rest of it. So as long as you've got your punctuation, your spelling, and how well it's written, you should get the 6 marks. Let's have another look at another one from 2013. Same thing. Ysgrifennwch ddwy frawddeg yn Gymraeg yn y trydydd person yn rhoi 2 ffaith am beth mae Sophie yn dweud yn y cyfweliad am y dyfodol. Again, all about the future. Now Sophie is a girl, so you're going to be using my he or my Sophie. And so let's have a look. You've got the hoffwn I wneud mwy o waith yn y theatr. So talking about Sophie's future. Hoffwn I wneud mwy o waith yn y theatr. Remember, you change the uni to I, he. So we could write hoffai he, and then you carry on. Hoffai hi wneud mwy o waith yn y theatr ac ar y teledu yn Lloegr. That could be your first answer. Yng Nghymru, dwi eisiau canu mewn cyngherddau ac ar S4C yn Gymraeg. You've got this dwi by here. So you could start off again with yng Nghymru, mae hi eisiau canu, and then you would carry on. So as long as you've got your full sentences, your capital letters, your spelling, and how well it's written, you should get your 6 marks. Let's have a look at the very last example from 2012. Again, same thing. Dwy frawddeg, Cymraeg, trydydd person. George yn dweud am y cyfweliad, am gwpan y byd. So you're going to be looking for cwpan y byd or gwpan y byd, which happens to be here in the last paragraph. Now George is a boy, is a man, so you're going to be using my A, okay? So let's have a look. First of all, he says, well, rydw i'n cofio sgorio 2 gais yn erbyn Namibia ac felly torri'r record o fod y chwaraewr ifanc i sgorio cais yng nghwpan y byd. So you have the rydw i, or the do we there. So you just change it and you start off exactly as it started off in the sentence. You've got well, comma, capital W. Mae e, or mae e'n cofio sgorio 2 gais. And you carry on. Okay, so let's look on down. Hefyd, rydw i o hyd yn meddwl am y gêm yn erbyn Ffrainc a'r siom o golli 9-8. Also, I still think about the game versus France, the France game, and the disappointment of losing 9-8. So you've got the rydw i or the do i there. So start from the beginning. Hefyd. Capital F, comma. Hefyd, mae e o hyd yn meddwl, and you're going to carry on. Because as long as you're including the answer and it's in the third person, because that's all you're changing is the do we to the mae or the mae he, and the hoffwn to hoffai e and hoffai he. As long as you've got that in there, then you're going to get your 6 marks as long as it's in a full sentence, capital letter, punctuation, in Welsh, and it's written well. Okay te, ac yn olaf, cyngor cyffredinol, general advice last. Defnyddiwch eich synwyr cyffredin. Use your common sense. This will throw a lot of you. Geni is the same as ngeni, is the same as any, which all means born. That's the only difference is this by here. That's the only difference between all of, well, and obviously this is missing by here, but the same eni, eni, eni. If it looks like the word from the question and it's a little bit different in the text, it's probably the same word, like bendigedig or fendigedig, gyffrous or cyffrous. It's the same word. 99% of the time it's going to be the same word. Ymarferwch skimio o scanio. Practice skimming and scanning. Get into the habit of not needing to read absolutely everything. Dysgwch yr eirfa yma. Learn this vocab. Now, I've put together a Quizlet here for you to practice the vocab in this specific question. So, pieces of vocab that have come up in 2012, 2013, and 2014. Practice them. Know what they are in English. Ymarferwch droi'r person cyntaf, dwi, i'r trydydd person. Mae e, mae hi, mae nhw. Practice turning the first person, dwi, into the third person, he, she, or they. A dyma ni. Felly dyma oedd y gyfres dra chyfrinachol. This was the top secret series gyda fi, Mr Wall, ac ein cenhadaeth ni heddi oedd Uned 1 Cymraeg a iaith, Cwestiwn 3. Our mission today was Unit 1 Welsh Second Language, Question 3. Pob luck.